Back at it again with another video. Ooh, I'm like looking all over the place. Let's try this. Here we go. And let's turn that shit off. Sorry about that. That's much better. And then fix my deal. No, anyway. We're back at it again with another video of the gaming pulpit, right? We are going to be discussing some E3-ness. That's going to be amazing. No, it's not going to be amazing. Basically, it's going to be my opinion. So let's just kick this shit off. I want to actually review the Sony press conference. I better do it this way. Damn it. Here we go. I want to actually review the Sony press conference for the Sony E3 press conference. That'll basically say it all. So let's just start off by saying I liked it. I was super disappointed though. The reason why I was disappointed is because they my own particular expectations. I really thought that they were going to have some like really cool. Who the fuck messaged me? Get out of here. Shut up. I thought they were going to have some surprises and stuff like that, and they didn't. They just basically told exactly like Neo's not a surprise, but they said exactly what they were going to do. They said they were going to do Death Stranding, The Last of Us, the Spider-Man game, and then what else did they say they were going to do? Spider-Man, Death Stranding, The Last of Us. Oh, and Ghost of Tsushima. So they actually did that, and that really annoyed me. I was hoping for like a SOCOM reveal. I was hoping for honestly the Horizon Zero Dawn Part 2. I was really hoping for that, and I was sorely disappointed. That was my bad. I should have just basically listened to it, but I thought it was going to be some surprise and stuff like that. What's going on around these internets talking about the pacing of a press conference? Who gives a fuck? Really care about the games. The games are the most important. That's what you really should honestly care about. So I'm going to try to break it down in my head as best as I can. So how the actual E3 event started off, because I'm not going to talk about, like everyone else, the presentation. I don't care. The games are what's most important, and they delivered. So it started off with The Last of Us, and let me just add that Ellie, you have horrible taste in women. That girl was ugly, pure ugly. She was not cute. She was not pretty. Uh, she could have did better. You look way better than that chick, so you could have did better. I'm sure in the Last of Us universe, you could have found somebody, but whatever. I wasn't too pleased with the whole, lesbian kissing scene in such great detail. Not because it's a lesbian, but it's like Gay Pride Month, and it just seemed like a publicity stunt. Honestly, it was definitely going to spark some controversy. Maybe that's that marketing ploy. They know what the fuck. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. Gay Pride Month have two lesbians kissing on that scene, and then and then start off. So what I assume what The Last of Us is going to be basically about is this cult that they have. They probably are. They probably think it's the apocalypse. That's referred into the Bible, as referred from the Bible, and anything that is from the Bible, they're probably trying that is bad or sin. They're trying to eradicate on their own. They try to bring balance in the world or whatever the case is. So I'm pretty sure they scooped up her girlfriend and killed her, and then she's pissed. That's what it looks like. So I think I'm right about that. I'm pretty sure. But the gameplay that they had there. I'm not exactly sure how much of that was real. I know there was some Twitter beef with the developers of Ubisoft. Well, no, Square Enix and Naughty Dog. It wasn't that crazy beef, but somebody from Square Enix was like, "Yeah, that shit's fake." They pulled this particular stunt with the first Last of Us, where they said that all this crazy shit was going to happen. Then when we finally get the game, like half of it happened. So it's hard to tell. But we're in a new generation. The Last of Us was a very experimental game. So I mean, if it's really not, I mean, if it I mean, if it's not there, I'm pretty sure, or if it's not what they showed or anything close to it, I'm pretty sure they're going to get some backlash with that. But from what they showed, everything was really good. The graphics were really, really top notch. They have a lot of cool things like, what is it? There's a jump feature now. There's a prone feature now, and you just can't jump into the grass and call it a day and be invisible. If the grass is not tall enough for you, it's not going to be as effective. So that was pretty cool. But then they went to the next game, which was Ghost of Tsushima, and that's personally is my E3 game. That's my game of the E3. To be honest with you, it looks really nice. It looks very reminiscent to Horizon Zero Dawn. Anything that looks like that shit, I love. But people they don't understand that Sucker Punch actually made stealth games when they made Sly Cooper. So I'm pretty sure with this samurai game, they show little bits of it with the grappling hook and just sneaking in on rafters and jumping in and killing people, all that stuff. I'm pretty sure they're going to nail the whole stealth aspect. People thought it was like the Batman Arkham games when it came to how it slowed down and he was able to like basically dispatch everybody in the room. But I think that's just a special move. It seems like there was a parry system. It seems like there was a dodge system, strafing and all that other good stuff. I'm pretty sure they nailed it with the combat. I like the combat anyway, and the other Sucker Punch games, so they got it to me. But graphically, it's beautiful. It's not all about crazy action packed. And then on top of it, it's grounded in reality instead of all these Japanese hack and slashes and all this flipping around and jumping on bullets and all this stuff. I like an American, a Western take, I should say, on samurai stuff because it's too over the top with Japanese shit. So I really like that. But anyway, they moved over to Death Stranding, and a lot of things people don't know about Death Stranding. One, I'll knock out the negatives. After seeing The Last of Us and all of the crazy animations and stuff like that with the facials and stuff like that, um, I wasn't entirely too impressed with Kojima Games did with that engine, the Decima engine. But Stranding is a open world game, and The Last of Us 2 is not. So you have a lot more focus to do a lot of different things and a lot more resources because it's not rendering an entire environment with that weather changes and day and night cycles and shit like that. So I give it a pass on that one. And the game's not done yet either. So that's that. The good news is it seems to be a game based in a Lovecraft universe where you have like these interdimensional things going on and perception, mind blown stuff. Like the characters can't see things because whatever they're looking at is so ridiculous that their brains can't comprehend it. Thus, it's invisible. But anyway, the stuff that I found out with Death Stranding is that you have vehicles. I believe you have bikes and jeeps and stuff like that. There is no real game over screen. So there's no real game over screen. If you die, because there's some multiplayer elements added into it, or some kind of asymmetrical multiplayer elements. So if you die, you make it hard for everybody, from what I understand. Even if it's not for everybody, it makes it hard for you. So if you quote unquote die, you come back. That rain is a detriment to you. So you definitely don't want it to rain in that game. But if it does happen, from what I understand, that little insect that she was eating, which is you go online, you can find out what that was exactly. It's some very small microscopic animal that cannot die. It can live in space, it can live in acid, it can live in lava, it just doesn't die. Regardless of the matter is, they did some kind of lore with that. But if you eat those things, I believe you can reverse what the rain does to you or protect yourself from that. Your objective is to scavenge, it looks like, and collect dead bodies and transport them from one A to or from A to B. And then the point between A and B is the actual game. There seems to be some kind of horror elements. I don't know what the baby's for. Um, but there's a lot of stuff going on, and I'm kind of glad they did it like that. I wish they showed a little bit of the gunplay, just a little bit, so it could people the fuck up. So Kojima is basically saying that I normally make really good games, so I don't need to show you shit. To be honest with you, you just need to know that I make good games and shut up. So who knows? That was a pretty good thing. Um, Music is really on point. It's probably used licenses or an actual soundtrack. So it's probably a soundtrack of something. I didn't look into it, but I like the music. With the trailer, that was really cool. And then the last game that Sony showed was the Spider-Man game. And to be honest with you, I mean, you clearly saw that it's way better than, to me, any superhero game that I've ever seen, including Batman. As a matter of fact, that game is better than the movies. It was very interesting. I was on the edge of my seat to figure out what the fuck's going on. It was really cool. So I'll be definitely picking up that game. If you didn't like it before, that trailer made a believer out of you, and I can see why a lot of the fanboys of Microsoft couldn't stand that shit. But just pick up a PS4. It's not that deep. Just I mean, pick it up and then sell it again if you really want to play it. But that's definitely something there. So now that that's out of the way, I because of my disappointment, I would rate it a B. And I know I shouldn't be carrying on my expectations to it. I believe what Sony's doing is pretty smart. One of the biggest video game expeditions, or whatever you want to call it, the biggest video game meetings or gatherings. They're showing their top four games that are coming out very soon, and they want that press to collect that information and disseminate how good it is. And that's what you should use it for. They showed extensive gameplay for all four of those particular games. So kudos to them. I believe they're probably going to start using their PlayStation experiences to actually reveal new games or reveal new shit. And by the way, Sony, if you look at this video or if you spotted this video, where the fuck is the update? I want my update for the PS4. You haven't done it yet. We was supposed to have gotten an update. I don't know if it's about name changes or whatever the case is. I was also expecting them to say something about backwards compatibility for PlayStation 1 games. They didn't say shit. So as a B, because I wanted to see those games anyway, it was pretty entertaining as well because we didn't see any gameplay. I know people was like, oh, we already knew it was coming out, but you didn't know how it played either. So it's a fresh take on that. So I liked it. Um, so I was looking at some other YouTube channels that are smaller. So like Porter Rock 77, Griffin Gaming. They make really good points. In terms of the Microsoft conference, I was all over the place with that shit. So I'm trying to do better. I'm gonna keep those videos there as a reminder that I should do better. But in terms of those meetings, Microsoft showed like 90% of third-party games that we were going to get anyway, and they're not even time exclusives. We're just going to get them flat out. And the games that they showed that were exclusive also comes out for the PC as well. So you don't need an Xbox necessarily. You know what I mean? It'd be worth your time if you picked up a Sony platform and picked up like Near, because there's other things that comes along with that that you may like that didn't come on PC. Things like that. So that's the difference between Xbox and the PlayStation's exclusivity. But in terms of Microsoft, it's like, hey, you showed Halo. That's going to be way far out in the future. So none of you guys are getting that anytime soon. You showed Gears of War. It looks like a RTS or some kind of isometric view, and it's coming out exclusively for the PC. But yet it's a Xbox reveal. I mean, it's an Xbox show. So that was kind of ass. I thought that was disrespectful. And then what really throws me off, which I really didn't like, um, was what was the other game they showed? They showed the actual Gears of War 4 or 5 or whatever, the newest Gears of War. And to me, a lot of people don't like it. I thought it was pretty interesting. It completely departed from the other Gears of War. So I was like, you know, I know our fans probably don't like that shit. They probably were pissed off. And then they showed Forza Horizon, and that's basically, you know, now they got season changes on top of day and night cycles. But you show that every single year, so you only had like two exclusives that's coming out immediately. And then you said that you are acquiring 5 development studios, but yet those games are not going to come out anytime soon. So you just started to fix your first party issues. You just started. You just started to, meaning that you didn't have an intention to do it until shit hit the fan, which is like, this is why I don't fuck with Microsoft. They don't really care about it unless it really hurts their stocks and shit like that. They don't have any pride. I know all companies really care about that shit. You know, they care about money, but Microsoft, they don't have no pride. They just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I'm trying to make money. But this continual like, catering to PC and catering to the Xbox Live platform, the actual paying for Xbox Live, that shit's fucked up because there's a lot of people that they want exclusive content for their console. And let's be honest here, Porter Rock 77 said this shit too. He said, hey, guess what? When they say it's the best place to play, but you need an investment of $500 to make that statement correct. Because there's about 39 million Xbox owners that picked up the original Xbox One and Xbox One S. They don't get those graphic benefits at all. They don't get those benefits. So it's like, you can't sit there and say that it's the best place to play. You can't say that. You cannot say that, which is like crazy to say that you have the upper hand. You don't. It's really a battle between PS4 and Xbox One, and that's it. Hey, what's going on, Super? I appreciate you stopping by. But I do these videos every now and again. I'm basically covering it's 60 minutes in. I'm not going to be on here much longer. So if you want to see the full effect of how I broke down Sony's E3 conference, you can do that as soon as the video uploads. Please subscribe. I really appreciate it. I do a lot of gaming and stuff like that. But basically, I'm on our way of talking about like Microsoft and how they didn't have the exclusives and they don't have. There's no reason to have an Xbox other than if you just bought an Xbox One X. That's the only reason to have that shit. But for the other people, the 39 million people that picked up the Xbox at One S and One, they don't have shit that really differentiates it from the PS4. And then there's gonna be a lot of people too that talk about the conference. Oh, Microsoft had a better conference, but yeah, but 98% of it was third party that we're gonna get, and it's not even time exclusives. We're going to get that plain and simply. And what, even if it is on an Xbox One X, and if it's better, it's going to be marginally better. It's not $500 worth of betterness. And in terms of Nintendo, oh boy. I mean, they came up with the Zelda, that's great, but then they have nothing else until Pokemon. Nothing else until Pokemon. It's like the fans carry Nintendo. Pokemon. Smash Brothers, nobody wants that's the new Smash Brothers. They wanted it to be a fighting game. And Nintendo, since Smash Brothers Melee, they've been pushing that shit to be an actual party game. And that's not what the fans want. And they don't listen to the fans. And that's cool. That's typical Nintendo. And lastly, what I wanted to talk about is cross-game play. There's a lot of people screaming about this shit. How come I can't take my profile from Fortnite to... Why are you taking that shit everywhere? Right. Fortnite is a cool game. And then, I mean, listen, right, PlayStation as a business standpoint, right? As a business standpoint, they don't want you to buy another console and not invest into their own ecosystem. They don't want you to do that. They don't want you to do that. They're like, I'm not going to support this because you're going to end up staying with your current console. If you have an Xbox One X or an S or One, you're going to end up trying to you're not going to buy a PS4 at this point in time. And Sony is in the business of for you buying PS4s, period. So people crying about that shit, they're taking a little tiny thing like this new generation of people are doing, a little piece of thing, and they're blowing it out of proportion. Just anything to try to, give a bad face. People forget that when Sony tried to do this last generation with the PS3, Microsoft said hell fucking no. Because why? They wanted you to pay for Xbox Live. And then PSN was free back then. So people that were buying the PS3, they could play online for free. And that was a big ass no-no. All these people that are coming out of the woodworks and claiming, oh gosh, what is Sony doing? They're so anti-consumer. Jesus. It's like, listen, it's a business move. And you know it's a business move. And you know you're blowing it up out of proportion. The bottom line is this. You would never buy another console anyway. You just want to have any little piece of shit to throw at something else to say that you're right about, PlayStation doesn't have any games or it's a shitty company or whatever the case is. Listen, I'm going to tell you straight up. When it comes to the Xbox, and I'm going to end it here, the Xbox console and Microsoft in general, I'm sorry, I'm a fanboy for this shit. They're a piece of shit company. Even when they were at the top of their game, you were forced to pay for Xbox Live $50 just to play online. They didn't have like games with gold. Just to connect with another person, you had to pay $50 a year. What type of sense is that? Not only that, you had to pay $50 a year to use Netflix on their platform. People forget about that shit. They didn't want you to have anything free there. If you bought that console, you had to have Xbox Live, or else that console was a piece of shit. It was until this generation when they started to be consumer friendly because they were losing out on sales. All of a sudden, you don't need to have Xbox Live to play Netflix. You know what I mean? Even with free-to-play games, they were like, you still got to pay Xbox Live to play a free-to-play game, which doesn't make any sense. And it's still like that to this day. Fortnite, the same Fortnite that we're talking about, which is a free-to-play game, you need to have Xbox Live, where you don't need to have that shit on the PlayStation 4. And everybody talk about the anti-consumer policies of Sony, when you have to buy Xbox Live, which is $60 to play Fortnite anyway on a free-to-play game. That's bullshit. You got to call people out how you see it. And if you guys don't know, like Puerto Rock, he's an excellent guy. I don't like his accent too much. I'm sorry. It's not because he's Spanish, but he always sounds like he has food in his mouth. I'm like, gosh, Puerto Rock, just swallow your spit. Shit. Damn. I always think he's going to spit on the camera. And I'm like wincing every time he's talking. He's like, oh, Puerto Rock. And I'm like, oh. Anyway, he's a good guy, though. I love his videos and stuff like that. And he speaks the absolute fucking truth. He's awesome. I hope I can collaborate with him one of these days. But that's pretty much it. That's my stuff. That's my whole like E3 breakdown. Sony obviously won that shit because they show games and extensive gameplay and not trailers. Actual gameplay, how the game's going to be played. And if people talk about the presentation, just like Puerto Rock said today, you can't play a presentation. At the end of the day, if you strip everything away, the only thing Microsoft showed for their console was the same shit that they showed for the last 4 years. Forza and Gears of War and Halo. Everything else was multi-platform. That was it. That was literally it. That was the end of the story. Everything else is fluff. And regardless of how much presentation it is, I don't know when Halo's coming out. We don't have a release date for that. That's like no release date at all. And it's probably going to come out on next generation. That is cross-platform with the original Xbox One, stuff like that. We know that The Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, possibly Death Stranding, and then Spider-Man's coming out later this year. We know that that's coming out. So it's like, we have the games. And even if Gears of War is playing exactly like the other Gears of War, they're just incremental DLC content, essentially, that you have to pay $60 for. That's it, really. Listen, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. I would appreciate if you guys would, hit me up, not hit me up, but like, involve yourself like you're doing right now and talking in my shit and everything like that. I like talking to you guys. I like talking to anybody, really. I'm a talkative motherfucker. But until next time, I appreciate it and peace out.